Hey y'all, I'm Deborah. Welcome to my channel. This is the February update for the This is Pantasy project, Pan. This is from the Fantastic Ladies Facebook group, and this project was started by Allie from Wonder in Alley Land. Sorry about that, guys. My computer just keeps beeping at me. I'll have all the information linked down below. For those of you who have not seen this before, this is a project based on mythological and fantasy creatures. And we all have prompts based on different kinds of creatures. I rolled all of mine in at the beginning, and so now I've started adding some of my own. So with that said, the first one that I still have active is Basilisk, and the prompt for that one was a dark matte shadow. So I have this one from my Physician's Formula palette. It's been depotted, but you can see I'm wearing away the embossed rose on it. It's actually getting a fair dip in the middle of that rose. So we'll see how long that takes. It's coming along quite nicely. All right, the second prompt that I still have active is Dragon, and that is a product that is large, either in quantity, packaging, amount, however you want to define it. So I started out with an enormous, I don't know, 32-ounce something shampoo that actually made a better shower gel. This is all I have left of it. So once this is gone, this will be done. I used up from the top of it. I had refilled this and to down here today, and so probably another 2, 3, probably by midsummer it'll be done. Maybe sooner than that. All right, so the last of the original prompts that I had was Elf, and that was something that made you feel beautiful. And for me, that was my Dior Forever Matte foundation. I love this. It even smells posh. So I did use all of it that I could. I even put a little bit of moisturizer in here and mixed it up really good, and used it to tint moisturizer for a few days. And then there wasn't any left. So there you go. It's all completely done. I won't be purchasing it anymore. I want to try some cruelty-free options. So if anybody has a favorite, put it in the comments down below, and when I get to trying new things, I'll take a look. Okay, so the last item left over from last month was a story that I told last month about a creature known on the southeast Georgia coast as the Altamahaw. And before that, I rolled in this Unseen Sunscreen. Started out at this mark last month. I was here today. And so I think I just finished a SPF in another project. So I'm thinking this one will probably be done by next update. We'll see. I thoroughly expect it to be gone. Okay, so that leaves me with 3 active products, and so I'm going to tell you guys a story. My grandmother's dad was part Cherokee. She was born near the Cherokee Reservation in Oklahoma, and occasionally most of the time she was like, skip it. Sometimes she would tell stories. It just kind of depended on what Mama felt like she wanted to do. I loved her. I still love her. I miss her dreadfully. But one of the stories that I love out of Cherokee mythology, because the First Nations and Native Americans have a little bit different mythology than the European nations do. Although all cultures have some similarities in creation tales. There's one that I really like out of Cherokee culture, and it's called the First Fire. And so long, long ago, when the earth was young and when the animals still talked to each other, It was very cold and dark. And so the animals called a council, and they got together, and they prayed to the man on the mountain to send something to keep them warm, to save them from dying from the cold. And so thunder sent down lightning, and lightning struck a hollow sycamore tree, and a fire began in the tree. Well, this fire, the animals could see it, but they couldn't get to it because it was on an island in the middle of the lake. So the animals were trying to decide, okay, how can we get the fire? How can we go get it? How can we bring it back? Because they could see it, but they couldn't get it. So Raven was the first one who decided she would go get it. And Raven was beautiful. She had long, flowing white feathers. And she was large and strong. And so she said she would go over to the island and bring back fire. When Raven got there, the fire was so hot that it burned all of her beautiful white feathers. And she came back kind of smaller and crispy black, shiny. And so ravens still look like that today. Well, the next creature that tried to go over was the owl. And the owl got over there, but the light from the fire was so bright, and the ash got in his face, and it made white rings around his eyes that even to this day the owls still can't get off their feathers. And they can only see at night because they hurt their eyes. Then a snake went over. They said, well, if we can't fly, maybe we can get in on the ground. So the snake got in, but it was so hot, he found his way into the tree, and then he had trouble finding his way back out. So now we've got snakes that kind of go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and because they're still hunting for an exit from the tree. So by this time, the animals had decided that they probably were not going to make it, and that they were not going to be able to get the fire. And so they heard from the back of the room a little voice said, "Let me try." And they turned and looked, and it was the little tiny water spider. And they all kind of laughed and said, "You're so small, you're so tiny, what could you possibly do? But it's not going to hurt anything. Go ahead, see what you can do." Well, the water spider was tiny and was very light and very fast. And she was so light that she could run across the surface of the water. And she made it over to the island. And she was so small she could get pretty close to the fire. And she could get to one of the small pieces that had one of the coals that had come over to the side. Instead of where all the bigger animals were trying to get fire from the middle, she kind of got fire from the edge. And she, instead of weaving a web, she used her silk to make a bowl. And she put the bowl on her back, and she took a little coal and she put it on her back in the bowl, and she ran across the lake back to where the animals were. And from that little tiny coal that the water spider brought, they were able to make bigger fire. So I'm rolling in something in honor of the water spider. And the water spiders still have this little bowl-shaped marking on their back. So there is always an end to the story. So for this product, this story, I am rolling in honor of the water spider, something that is small but powerful, small but mighty. Something small that does a big job. So what I am rolling in for water spider is my Bobbi Brown color corrector. This little tiny package, little bit. You can see I've already got pan in it. It only takes a tiny little bit to do the job, to cover all the purple. And my goal is to finish this. I've been working on this for a really long time to start with. So it's not going to go quickly, but it's small but mighty. Okay, guys, so that is my story and what I'm rolling in for water spider. I will bring you guys another story next month. And I hope that as you guys finish some of your prompts, you'll start rolling in stories from your own culture and from your own history, your own families and areas of the world. All right. See you guys later. See you in the next video. Bye.